We are live on our special Kentucky Derby 2025 preview show, Proline TV. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Greg DePalma, and of course, joining me each week from the Riders and Seats, Mr. Jon Hardoon. How's it going, John?
Good, Greg. How are you?
Doing good. This is a big week. I know that they pay the exact same amount of money for the win.
Yeah.
Just like a claimer on a Tuesday afternoon, but hey, we got to get excited about a few things in horse racing every year. So this is one of those deals.
Yeah, and what's really good is the cards that they put together, the undercards. The big races obviously are the Oaks and the Derby, but there are races galore that are really terrific races, even if you don't want to bet on them, just to watch. Tomorrow, on Friday, you have the Ali Sheba. And that, there's a couple of horses in there, Locked and Fierceness. I mean, these are the best horses in training, the best older horses in training at this time. And on, you're going to get to see Torpedo Anna. On Saturday, you're going to get to see other terrific races. And the Pat Day Mile, there are a lot of great races. Even if you're not gambling just as a sports fan or a horse racing fan, these are races to watch.
Yeah, Torpedo Anna, of course, the winner of the Oaks, and we're going to be previewing the Oaks as our lead-in to the Kentucky Derby. So that's what we decided to do here for the first time. Normally, we've split that up, but we decided not only to do them all on the same show, but also to come to you live. So anybody watching live, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, this is definitely the time to do it so you can interact with us as it happens. We'll also take a look at what comments came across the board last week. And John, you're going to be actually heading out to Las Vegas after the show. You're going to get some sleep and you're going to get up early and you're headed to Las Vegas.
Yeah, 6 a.m. Tomorrow morning we leave to Vegas. There's a show tomorrow night on YouTube, Race Day Las Vegas. Then Friday, that's for Friday's card. Then Friday night, we do a live show from the South Point Casino and Hotel, and you can watch that on their website, and it's free, just like this is. You get to watch it. We go over the Derby and one or two other races on the card. So you're going to get a preview tonight before the people in Vegas are going to hear about it on Friday night. So look at that. You're ahead of the game.
What preview is that? Tonight?
Well, we're doing it tonight, aren't we?
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to change my selections between tonight and Friday night.
Oh, you won't? You're not going to have like 5 selections on 5 different shows, 5 different selections on 5 different shows? You're not going to do that?
No, we're not one of those sports handicappers that give the East Coast one team and the West Coast the other team. No.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that.
And we put our money where our mouth is, as you know, Greg.
That's right. And another winner last week. So we'll keep the streak alive. It's been an excellent year, and we're going to hope to hit it big on Friday or Saturday, either the Oaks or the Derby. And before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at what comments came through the board this past week. Matter of fact, last week, one of the comments from Kirby Chamberlain said, "Thank you so much for that clarification about CC. You're the best, of course." And we couldn't figure out what CC was. Well, Steven Strockman from Patreon, one of our Patreon members, said CC comment was probably closed caption question asked by a viewer. And he had to be right because we went over the whole thing about how you can check out the closed caption and make sure that you have it. So, we thank Steven for that clarification. And we also...
really, you should have come up with that. I mean, you do all this.
I know.
CC.
Yeah, I have a hard enough time. I have a hard enough time with the mileage clarifications. So, Diane Bogan, another great show. Thanks for helping me hit the pick 3 at Keeneland last Saturday.
Okay. You're welcome.
That's awesome. We want to hear, Diane. DeFried, always entertaining. Thank you. Maurice Campbell. This is going to into play here. Maurice Campbell, can you handicap the Kentucky Derby for rain in case it rains and the track is sloppy? So Obviously, the answer to that question is 100% yes, we can. But while you bring that up, I am going to go ahead, in case anybody does not know yet what the situation is, because it is still a few days away. Let's check out the forecast from a Louisville station and hear what he says regarding this upcoming week end.
Thurby does look unsettled, especially in the afternoon.
No idea what Thurby.
Still warm at 82. Then we start to get behind this energy. A few lingering showers will be possible on Oaks Day. There will be plenty of dry time, but just know a couple of showers possible on Oaks. And for Derby Day, looking mainly dry as we'll turn it partly sunny after some morning clouds.
There you go.
You should know one thing. By the way, that no track in the country dries faster than Churchill Downs. I was there one year when the rain was unbelievable. In the morning, about 7, 8 o'clock, they had so much rain, and by post time, literally by post time, the track was drying out. And by the Derby, which is one of the latest races on the card, the track was completely dried out. No track in the country dries as fast as Churchill. So keep that in mind. Listen, the turf course, it may be different, but the main track dries faster than any other track, and I could almost guarantee the track will be fast by Derby.
Okay. By the way, Diane is watching and says, thanks again. So there you go. Diane, one of our viewers who couldn't wait. She wanted to watch the show live. We appreciate that, Diane. So you're welcome. Okay. So one more to go. And this is important because I'm sure others out there might have the same questions as Ruben Garza did this week. He said, I'm interested in the full card sheets and picks for Kentucky Derby Day. I searched online and wanted to know what the difference is if I get the sheets from Ragozin website or from John's website. Are they the same product? I have learned a lot watching your show this past year, which is what we want to hear. Looking forward to the Derby and the rest of 2025. Keep up the great work.
Okay, so here's the answer. If you want the sheets themselves, and these are the sheets, you can go to the website and you get them. The problem is that a lot of people won't know what they're doing with this. So I have a website where I actually do the handicapping and I make selections. But you don't get the sheets with my selections, you get my opinion. Whereas if you got the sheets themselves, you would get the sheets and not my selection. So it's either you want to do the work and learn, but it's an expensive proposition. They're $40 for the sheets. My selections are available, $25 a track. They have a multi-track special, whatever. That's the difference. Hopefully I made it clear to everybody.
It's like a much bigger deal than like what we do here.
Yeah.
We give our opinion, and you can, if you buy say the sheets to the Derby or Derby Day, you can watch as we go through the race, talk about the sheets, and then you'll actually be able to see for yourself. And that's a great way.
We're only doing 1 or 2 races. Yeah. When you get the sheets for the whole day, you'll get every race, all 14 races on Saturday. So,
and I don't think, look, there are a lot of questions you're going to have, and obviously this is what this show is for. And also there's ways that you're able to communicate with John. John, do you still do seminars? How many do you still do?
Well, every day we do a Zoom seminar for New York racing at 11:30 a.m. So we go through all those people come equipped with sheets, but the office offers a free Zoom seminar, which I conduct daily for New York racing.
There you go. So you'll have many opportunities to ask questions that you might be stumped about, because it's not easy. It's a process. Trust me, I know. But it's also one of those things where once you start to learn just the basics, which I think you can learn pretty quickly, then it's just a matter of repetition. And then you get your own style, and then you start learning and having more questions, and it just goes on and on and on.
And there are certain patterns that you'll learn along the way. You learn, I had to learn from scratch. My father did this many years ago. He was one of the original players. But believe me, you learn new things every day. I'm even learning things 40 years in, and you have to be able to adjust on the fly. And that's about it.
All right. So that was a question from Ruben Garza. So, and then before we move on, I want to thank John Wise, because John made the first super thanks donation for our show here on this channel, $20 donation. So thanks to John. And again, we've mentioned this before. All you need to do is you see that little thanks icon at the bottom of the screen. It's got a $ next to it. If you ever want to donate to our channel, to this show, all you can do is hit that, pops up. You can donate $1 if you like. And it also lets you say whatever you want to say on there. And then we'll definitely acknowledge anybody that does that. So we appreciate any way that you can contribute to our program and the channel. So thanks, John.
One other thing. First of all, hit subscribe so you join. Yes. That's the most important thing. Also, anybody have questions, we try to answer them to the best of our ability. A lot of times we're busy and I get to them a few days later, but I do check it every now and then, and Greg sends them over to me, and I try to help people and I try to answer.
And I know it's been a while, but I'm still wondering where Richard Buckler is. Where's Rock? We've missed Rock. Rock hasn't been around for a while, unless he's given us.
He used to contact us from overseas, if you remember. Yeah. I think he's in England somewhere. And,
yep, that's where he's from.
Hopefully he's okay and everything.
Yeah, I hope so.
But he did disappear.
Okay, so let's get ready to talk about the Kentucky Oaks before we get to the Derby. And let me go ahead and pop up the entries here so we can go along here as we take a look at this deep field of 14. And this is, of course, takes place on Friday. So this is 1 1/18. And this
a mile and an eighth.
1 1/8. See, there we go. There I go again.
You again.
This is post time. It's about 10 to 6 on Friday. And the morning line favorite is the obvious one, and that's the 11, the 6 for 6, Good Cheer. Brad Cox's undefeated filly here. And interesting enough, though, there's only 2 horses in this field with single-digit sheet numbers, and Good Cheer is not one of those 2. All right.
Yeah, but Good Cheer is ready to run a new top come Friday. And listen, let's not fool anybody. She's certainly the horse to beat, but the idea is to take a short price horse and hook her up, in this case, with a long price horse, which I think we could do. And you could turn a 3 to 5 shot into maybe a 10 or 15 to 1 shot. And that's the way that I am going to approach the race.
And there are 14 in the field, so sort of like what we deal with the Derby, there are long shots, and so hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 that will enter the fray. All right, so let's start at the top early on, and early on is a 30 to 1 shot. And look, there's nothing really wrong with early on. She's slower than the top horses, but ever since Safi Joseph took over in the last 5 races, she just keeps getting better and better. Again, it's just not enough. She's run 17, 16, 14 in her last 3. So she's starting to get there. I wouldn't say it's the worst idea. Maybe if she can get in there on, at a trifecta or something like that, if she puts together her best race. By the way, I know we talk a lot about the post position draw in the Kentucky Derby. So what's the situation when you have a 14 horse field?
Well, obviously it's not as bad as a 20 horse field having the rail. And it's not as bad at 1 1/8 as it is at 1 1/4, because 1 1/4 you're kind of starting, and you basically have to check. But they did install a new starting gate a few years back, and supposedly the rail is not as bad as it's always been. But I still don't want to break from the rail, not with 19 horses outside of you. And you're going to be forced to use your horse breaking from the inside. And listen, as far as early on is concerned, you're right. She hasn't done anything wrong. She's improving, but she's still a little slow compared to other horses in the race. But again, 30 to 1 certainly could suck up and get in the try or super somewhere on the bottom. Can't win, but maybe has a little bit of a shot.
The 2, Simply Joking, is a nice contender here at 10 to 1. Only 3 races. Great start, 11, win right off the bat. Bounced a little bit to a 14, still won that race. Came back with a 13, finishing second in a grade 2 race to one of the top contenders in this race, the 14 horse Quiet Side. So there's nothing wrong about this start for Simply Joking. And now there's no reason to think also that we can't get some more forward movement here. And she's 10 to 1.
Yeah, but I would much rather bet a horse like the 1 at 30 to 1 than the 2 at 10 to 1. The 1 is a point slower and improving. Wouldn't you rather bet a 30 to 1 than a 10 to 1? And I think that's the situation. And for that reason, I don't like this horse.
The 3 is Fondly, a 20 to 1 shot. You got a Red Ortiz Jr. on board. 14, first time out, bounced a little bit to a 16 last time, 2 for 2.
Yeah, but I don't like the 16 last time out. I don't like the backward move. I don't like this horse.
The 4 is Drexel Hill, and we just talked about 3 horses that all have better numbers than Drexel Hill, who's 30 to 1, back-to-back 15 so far this year.
Listen, she's 30 to 1, and she's, again, a little slower. She's never broken a 15. You're going to be talking about horses with 9s and 10s coming up, so no good.
The 5 is Quick Kick, a 30 to 1 shot, another 30 to 1 shot, who is also coming off a 15, ran a 17 before that in February.
So the first 5 horses we looked at are basically within a point or 2 of each other. And again, the one out of these 5 horses, if I was using any of them, would be the 1.
Okay. The 6 is Ballerina Adoro. And Ballerina Adoro, those first 3 races were turf. So let's get rid of that. So in her first race on dirt, she ran a 13. That was in August. Then she bounced. That was a 5-point top, by the way, new top. Then she bounced to a 16, her next start, came right back with a 15. We would have preferred a little bit better number, but it was a 15 and a win in a grade 3 race.
Yeah, but I don't want this horse because the line is horrible. The 13 as a 2-year-old is very good. It was first time on the dirt, first time going long. It was Chad Brown, and on Saturday it's Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt, so you could be sure they'll be a lot shorter than 10 to 1. Yep. The problem I have with this horse is the 15 and 16 that she ran this year. She had the 13 as a 2-year-old. She had every right to run it in either one of the 2 races she ran this year, even the first race. She was had enough time from the 13 last year. I think it was back on December 7th and comes back on March 1st. That's plenty of time not to bounce. She's still bounced. To me, she's negative.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather, especially if we're only talking about 3 dirt races, just like the 3 dirt races, I'd rather take the 2 because the 2 has lower numbers. They're both 10 to 1. That's the reason I bring that up. All right. Next up is Lacara, the 7, a 6 to 1 shot. So she's definitely up there as far as one of the top contenders. She's got a grade 1 win she's coming off of. She's got a grade 3 win. She had a 10 in February, bounced to a 15, and then came back with that grade 1 win running a 12.
Yeah, so she ran the 10 first out this year, which was very good. The 15 was good. And the 15 was expected off of the 10. But the last race really should have been better than the 12. She had every right to go back to the 10, and she didn't do that. And she's only 6 to 1. She's more likely to run the 15 off of the 12 than she is to run the 10. So for that reason, I am playing against this horse, especially at a short price.
Okay. Next up is the 8, 5G, a 12 to 1 shot, who has a grade 2 win. And so she's looking to do a 3rd straight sheet number double. She had 2 16s on turf. Then she put together 2 13s in 2 dirt races this year. And now she's coming off a 9. This is one of those horses I mentioned at the top that has a single-digit sheet number. She's one of them. She's coming off a 9. That is a 4-point new top, though. So a bounce is definitely in play. But what do you think about the possibility of 5G maybe going 16, 16, 13, 13, 9, 9?
It's possible. I mean, I'm definitely including this horse because of the price, and the trainer's doing well. He's having a good last couple of years. This horse is usable for me. I wouldn't want much less of a price than 10 to 1, but around that price, I'll be using this horse underneath.
The 9 is also a 12 to 1 shot. Matter of fact, so is the 10, but 9 first is Tenma. And this is Bafford's horse. Now, now, I don't know if I'm missing something here, but when you have a horse that has 5 wins out of 6, 5 graded stakes wins, 1 is a grade 1 win, Baffert is the trainer. The numbers are fine. You've got 13, 12, 14 in the last 3. I mean, you don't want to see the 14, obviously, the last race. But the point here I'm making is, how in the world is this horse 12-1?
Well, she's not going to run well on Friday, unfortunately, for all the Tenma fans. She's 12-1 because she's won a 5-horse race, a 3-horse race.
Oh, it's one of those Baffert deals.
Yes.
Okay.
So she's beating up basically on the same competition that she always beats up on. Listen, to go 5 for 6, nothing wrong with that. And but the 4, you made a good point, because the 14 she ran last time out is about as bad a number that she could have run.
Yeah.
She ran 13 at the end of last year. She ran the 12 first out, and she had plenty of time from the 12 to the 14. And not only that, but this horse loses all value because she won with a bad race. So we call that reverse buried. You know, it looks like a good race on paper. It looks like a good race visually, but numbers-wise, it was not a good race. It was a backward move. You could forget the 12-1. Baffert's not going off 12-1. It's going to be a lot shorter. I don't want this horse.
Yeah, I mean, that number is probably going to be at least cut in half.
Yeah.
So the
Look
value.
what she goes off. Last week she went off 30 cents to $1.
Yeah.
The week before that, but the week before that was a 3-horse field. 3 horses, please.
Yeah, that's typical. Of course, Santa Anita, too. All right, the 10 is a 12-1 shot. Take Charge Milady. And Take Charge Milady. What you like about this filly is if you see the line here, because we're going to draw a line through that grade 3 race in February.
Well, by the way, she did have trouble in that race as well, to be fair. The 31 she ran, 16-14, cover the 31, you're reading at 16-14-12.
Yep.
So that's the good news. The bad news is I heard the trainer being interviewed the other day on TV, and he says that she has a quarter crack, which is like a cracked thumbnail, but it's in the hoof. And it's painful, and they have to you put a bar shoe on the horse. And horses generally, just as a general rule, they don't run their best when they have bar shoes on or dealing with quarter cracks. Listen, Kenny McPeak, great trainer. He won last year with Torpedo Anna and Mystic Dan, so he could certainly get the job done here. That being said, I'm going to play this horse to bounce off the 12. Maybe I'm making a mistake. I just think she's going to be shorter than the 12-1 because of Kenny McPeak, and everyone in Kentucky seems to love the guy.
Okay. Now comes Good Cheer, a 6-for-6 horse, 3 of them happening at Churchill on top of that. But if you take a look at her numbers, everything is kind of okay, especially compared to the rest of this field, except for the last race, which was her best race, which was a 10. But you believe, from what you said earlier in the race, that we haven't even seen the best of Good Cheer yet.
Well, she's 6-for-6. Brad Cox is the trainer. The horse is training very well. What's interesting about the horse is that she's really never gone backwards. The 13 that she ran off the 12 last year was on a frozen track, and she won. She keeps winning. So there are horses that run whatever that number they have to run to win, and there are other horses, unfortunately, that run whatever they have to lose. Those are the horses you see that are 0-for-20 and 0-for-23 or whatever. But this horse is going to be very tough. She's just much better than these. And again, it's Brad Cox and it's Louis Saez. Listen, they had the misfortune of one of the horses that would have been one of the favorites in the Derby that broke his leg last week working out.
Tappan Street?
Yeah, Tappan Street, who Greg, that I had a future bet on this horse.
Pretty sizable one.
Yeah, at a big price. And I was pretty excited going into the Derby to have one of the choices and being able to make a score on not a big investment. Anyway, so this is the horse the connections are left with, and they are going to take full advantage. And this horse will be 7-for-7 come Friday night.
And what do you think the odds will be?
Short. 3-5, 4-5. That's what you're going to get.
Okay. The 12 is one of the big long shots in the field, but I think a horse that might be able to help us make some money, because even though we probably expect to see a bounce after running a 9, she did run a 9. And
she ran a 12 before that, and she
Yeah.
was claimed 2 starts back. Carlos David paid $50,000 and claimed this horse, and he got the 12 and the 9 out of it. This horse is 30-1. This is a no-brainer. You must use this horse.
Yep.
You know, and I'll give you some betting strategy when we're done with how I'm playing the race, but Anna's Promise will be on my tickets.
Yeah, because in her last 6 races, she just keeps going forward, including, as you mentioned, a 12 and a 9 in her last 2 starts.
She's a different horse for this trainer. Listen, as a 2-year-old, she never did anything wrong, but she wasn't very fast. She had a 17 top, you know, the 16, 12, and 9. And the 12 and 9, the last 2 races, I think are very strong.
And 13 is Bless the Broken, another 30-1 shot. But unfortunately, she does not have any number close to 9 like the 12 does.
Yeah, but she could repeat a 13 or a 12, and then she's like a lot of other horses in the race, but she is at least 30-1.
And then Quiet Side is unfortunately having to start from the 14th position because she's a strong horse, strong contender at 8-1. You got the Ortiz combo here. Of course, Jose on board. Back-to-back 12s coming in. So we've got pairs at 12s, and those 12s were also graded stakes wins. So what do you think about, by the way, Quiet Side also won the grade 3 race from the 12th post position here, the 14th. So at least she has a little experience in deep fields from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'd like a longer price, but again, she's not impossible. This trainer does well, and Jose Ortiz re-rides. She's usable.
Yeah, I mean, she's look, if you're looking, because I guess we'll find out first who you're going to go with. So let's go there, and then I'll throw in my question. So you're definitely taking the 11.
I'm using the 11 on top of the following horses: the 12, Anna's Promise, the 13, Bless the Broken, and the 14, Quiet Size. 11 over 12, 13. Well, I'll take that back. I'll add one more horse. 11 over 8, 12, 13, 14. But a bet that I would be making, for sure I'm making, besides betting an 11, 12 exacta, I am going to make a trifecta, which we never give out on the show. 11 with 12. So if the 11 wins, and I foresee her winning, and the 12 blows second and gets third, at least we're going to hit the try. And again, any one of these horses could split them in, you know, could be another 20, 30-1 shot. And all of a sudden you're turning a 2-5 or a 3-5 into maybe a 40-1 shot, something like that. That's the way that I'm playing the race.
And that's a straight trifecta?
11, all 12. Everyone 12. For 12.
So
yeah.
the 12 is third, the 11 is first.
Right.
And everyone else in the second.
Right, and you can make, different amounts. You could have 11, 1, 12 for more than you have 11, 2, 12.
How much, Michael, if you did that, what is the cheapest amount that ticket would be?
Well, so how many horses are in the race?
14.
14. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it'll cost you $12 for $1. 11, all 12.
That's it. Okay. That's not that bad.
That's
you want to do more than that, though, but.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm giving it the cheapest possible way.
Yeah, and what was I going to ask you now? I think I totally forgot.
You can send me an email when you remember.
These are, by the way, it would have been nice if you would have forgot about the 8 and just went 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. That would have been nice. But all of these are long shots. And again, that's what you have to do. By the way, because I'm going with the same thing. I'm going with different long shots. I'm going with the 11 over 2, 8, 10, 12. Okay. So my long shots are 2, 8, 10, and 12 with the 11. So the question is, if you had to pick a horse to win the race outside of the 11.
Don't do that to me.
All right, then who do
you can do that. I'm joking.
Who do you think is just who are you worried about in case she doesn't really have a good race? Who do you think is a really good contender here?
Well, the 8 is certainly live. That horse hasn't done anything wrong, and obviously
she's 12-1 now.
Yeah, and obviously the 12, who's 30-1.
So odds wise, LaCara at 6.
I know LaCara. LaCara's a 7. There's no LaCaras on my ticket. The 8 is 5 G's.
How about Quiet Side, the 8-1 shot?
It's not long enough, and she's outposted.
Okay. All right. So there you go. That's the Kentucky Oaks. And Friday, 550. You saw the weather forecast, so don't worry about the weather. The weather should be fine. All right, not bad.
By the way, people are making comments, and I can't reply to them. I don't know why, Greg, but maybe you could tell me.
Oh, you mean right now?
Yeah, like Michael Roush. There's also an abscess in the foot. We were talking about the horse with the quarter crack that Kenny McPeak trained. And so
Michael Roush.
Yeah, and so Maurice Campbell asked about Scipio. Who's that? Let me see.
Oh, yes, that's Michael Campbell. Yep.
Maurice
Campbell.
Yeah, I don't know how to reply to these people, but for some reason I'm not.
Why did you want to reply like?
I was going to join the chat room with them while we do this, but
well, yeah, you would have to you have to have your computer right in front of you where you're like right in the. You got to be in the on the page.
I'm in the room and I'm on the page.
Oh, you don't know how to?
No.
Yeah, just go into the. You don't have it set up there. Okay. I didn't realize that.
I could be smart, but I'm not smart when it comes to this stuff. Anyway, Scipio isn't even in the race. So where is Scipio? Another race in the card?
Oh, he's not in the American Turf?
Oh, I thought, okay. So the American Turf is what race?
I don't know.
No, okay. Well,
I thought you would know.
Yeah, I know. I know numbers. I don't know names. Scipio.
Let me see. In the meanwhile, I'm going to see if I can see exactly where you need to go here. Where is? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking on this side. Okay, so let's go to the website, and I'm going to pop. Oh, yeah, it's up there.
But I'm not on. I came into the room on the link you sent me. So how am I going to get in there?
Oh, yeah, you would basically have to be on the website on this page here.
Forget it.
Okay, that was the point. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out next time. I didn't want people to think I was rude and avoiding their questions. So.
Yeah. See, if you're here, you see, then where it says chat, you just type it in.
Okay.
You're on this page.
Oh, I see it. All right.
Yeah.
By coming through the other way with you. So, all right.
Yes.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. So there you go. And did you find that race? Diane Bogan said it's race 9
on Friday?
On Saturday.
Oh, I knew it wasn't on Friday because there is no Friday. So race 9 on Saturday. I like a horse in that race. That's 20-1. I'm going to sneak it in and I'm going to give it to you. But I like one of 2 horses there. I like the 6 Maximum Promise and the 5 Test Score. Those are 2 live long shots that make sure you include. The Scipio has a little bit of a shot, but the other horses are faster and longer prices.
So that's Saturday, race 9, the American Turf. Look for horses 5 and 6.
Yes, they will outrun their odds. They're both going to be big prices.
Okay. And who's Ricky saying here?
Nysos is coming off of a 1.5-year layoff. It's a very tough spot to return to the races. And listen, if anyone could do it, obviously it could be Baffert, but I wouldn't single a horse like that. I heard he's training very well, and the barn likes him a lot from what I understand. But he's going to be short. He's going to be overbet because he's undefeated, and it's Baffert and everything else that goes with it.
And is that the 3-year-old?
No, that's a horse. I guess he's 4 now. Last year, I think.
Oh, last year. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what? He got hurt. That was the problem.
Yes.
Okay, I remember that. Okay, so let's now get ready to talk about the Kentucky Derby. It only happens once a year, and we only prepare for it with all these prep races for several months. So it all comes down to this. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this field here. And I'm going to give you a couple of interesting trends that you might want to keep an eye on as the Triple Crown begins on Saturday. Over the last 6 years, the Triple Crown has seen 3 different horses win all 3 races. Not since 1929 to 1926 has that happened. So not sure if it's ever happened 4 straight years. But sometimes that's a good thing. That means there's a lot of parity and there's a lot of good horses. And sometimes that's a bad thing because the horses that win the Kentucky Derby obviously just aren't good enough to win.
Last year, Mystic Dan won the Derby. You know how many races he's won since winning the Derby? Exactly. And The year before that, I guess, what's his name did, the horse that, whatever. Go ahead.
That was Mage. Oh,
yeah.
But are you talking about the 80 to 1 shot?
Yeah.
The 80 to 1 shot. What was the name of that horse? Yes. That was Rich Strike.
Yes. Rich Strike.
Yeah. That was the Jeff Ruby Stakes winner. No, she didn't. No, he didn't even win the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Excuse me. So Rich Strike doesn't even win the Jeff Ruby.
He didn't even get into the Derby till the Friday morning before. And he would, because there was a late scratch and he was the AE, kind of like Baeza is this week.
And Baeza is a hell of a AE.
Yeah, what do you mean? The problem with Baeza is that if he gets in, he's going to get the 20 post. So that's what's going to hurt him. I would be looking to bet him in the Preakness.
The odds, by the way, speaking of the odds on the winning Derby horses over the last 6 years have been 18 to 1, 15 to 1, 80 to 1, 12 to 1, 8 to 1, 65 to 1. And we have to go back to 2018 before we have a short priced horse when Justify won at 3 to 1, which is the morning line for journalism. That just shows you how tough it is in these big fields for the short price horses to actually win the races. And that means there's a lot of money out there to be made if you can hit the right winner.
And by the way, even if you like the favorite will be 7 to 2. You're not going to get like a 4 to 5 or 3 to 5 in the Derby. So
that's true. Yes.
For people that like the favorite, and I never, endorse playing favorites unless I think they're foolproof, kind of like Good Cheer on Friday. But, there's a difference betting a 3 to 5 that you think is going to win as opposed to a 7 to 2 shot. That
is true. No European trained horse has ever won the Derby, and I don't know if there are any. I think there's one in this race. Let's see.
How about Japanese horses? No, none. Last year,
none.
Forever Young may have been the best horse last year. Got beat 2 noses after getting mugged in the stretch by Sierra Leone.
That is true. Yes,
and
or Sierra Leone.
Right.
Yes.
I missed it. Had a perfect trip. So
only 2 horses have ever won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and the Kentucky Derby. And that was Street Sense and Nyquist. Nyquist did it in 2016. Citizen Bull, the first horse we're going to talk about in just about a minute, obviously is in a tough situation with the 1 post position. Mage in 2023 and Justify in 2018 are the first horses since Apollo in 1882 to win the Derby without a 2-year-old start. There's only 1 horse in this field that did not make a 2-year-old start, and that is Grande, the number 10 horse. Also the least experienced horse with only 3 starts, because you have to go back to 1883 when Leonatus only made 2 career starts to win the Derby, the first and only horse to ever do so. All right. And then just one more, and that is following an 8-year streak of Derby winners coming off wins in their final prep tune-ups, ending with Justify in 2018, who won the Santa Anita Derby prep that year. The last 5 winners of the Kentucky Derby, and we're not including the 2020 winner because that was the weird schedule. That was Authentic, who won the Haskell, and then 2 months later won the Derby in September. So the last 5 Derby winners did not win their final Derby prep tune-ups. So just keep that in mind. Mystic Dan was 3rd at the Arkansas Derby. Mage was 2nd at the Florida Derby. Rich Strike was 3rd at the Jeff Ruby. Mandaloon was 6th in the Louisiana Derby. And Country House was 3rd in the Arkansas Derby. So just because you win those prep races does not guarantee squat. And now we're ready. So let's go through the field, Mr. Hardoon, starting with the 1, Citizen Bull. And Citizen Bull, of course, one of Baffert's horses, and he must have felt really good. He probably thought that they got him again. Oh yeah, right. I ended up with the 1 horse. Right. I want to see that. What is it? They have like ping pong balls or something? How do they?
Pills. Yeah. They pour pills out of a bottle.
Okay. Pills out of a bottle. Okay. So anyway, yeah. I mean, do we just completely eliminate the horse because of the 1 position, John?
I'm eliminating the horse because of the number he ran last time out. That was a terrible number for him. Not only that, it was a 5-horse field. That was the Santa Anita Derby. That was the race that Baeza was in. and only 5 horses showed up, so they lowered the point standard. Otherwise, Baeza would have made the Derby. So anyway, I don't like this horse's post position. I don't like the last race he ran. Up until the last race, obviously things were okay, but he's in big trouble breaking from the rail because he has to go. There's speed outside of him, and he's going to be used very hard going early.
All right, now comes the 2. Do you know how to pronounce this horse's name?
Neoquest.
Neoquest. All right.
Yes.
I don't know for it. 30-1 shot. And you've got Pratt on board, Safi Joseph training. So it's a nice little combo there. And yeah, this horse actually, even though he was 3rd in his last 2 preps, the Florida Derby and the Fountain of Youth, really didn't, it wasn't like an impact in either race. So it wasn't like he was like leading or was just in a bad position. And, you know, he had a little bit of a lead late in the Florida Derby, but never really thought he was going to win it. Anyway, good number, 30-1. Again, bad post position, number 2. The good thing, too, about this horse is that he isn't in a better situation, John, is he really hasn't done anything wrong with his numbers. He's gone from 18 all the way down to 9 without ever going backwards.
I'm using this horse at 30-1, even though I know I'm up against it, but there are reasons. I love the rider switch to Pratt today. I like the fact that he's never gone backwards. Every race is better than the previous one, and I like the 30-1. The problem I have with the horse is that the Kentucky Derby is 1.25 miles. Not sure that he wants to get that distance, but at 30-1, you don't ask questions, you include him, and that's what I'm doing.
The 3 is Final Gambit. And Final Gambit is one of those Jeff Ruby Stakes winners who deep closed his way to the win and to the Derby. Ran a 10 in that race, which was a 6-point new top. So even if we want to go ahead and talk about a Jeff Ruby synthetic horse who's never won on a dirt track, even just that alone would be difficult. But you also have to deal with the bounce factor. Again, a 6-point new top for Final Gambit. This is one of those pale horses. So I think that's kind of cool to see one of those pale horses out there. Anyway,
you mean a gray horse?
A gray horse. Well, yeah. Well, the pale horse, that's what they call them, like pale rider. I've seen those horses. They're pale. Yeah, it's like a pale color. Gray. Yeah.
Okay. Well, is gray pale? Pale is more like
that's the way they call it in the West. I don't know. Or in the old days.
You came up with pale. I didn't hear anyone else call the horse pale, but okay, go ahead.
Well, that's what I saw on Pale Rider. Same color horse. All right. Anyway, are we skipping Final Gambit because of the synthetic track and
I don't like
the bounce factor?
Listen, if the 2's 30-1 and the 3's 30-1, I'll bet the 2 all day long over the 3. So I don't want the 3.
Okay. The 4 is Rodriguez. And Rodriguez is coming off a victory his last time out. Definitely wants to go to the lead as quickly as possible. And don't forget, this is a horse that won the Wood Memorial. Wasn't like a great field or anything like that. He went wire to wire in that win. Captain Cook, which was a 9-5 shot in that horse, was side by side, but really didn't give him a really tough go at it late. So it was an easy trip for Rodriguez.
Yeah, and there's also 2 ways to read the sheet. He ran the 8 first out this year and circled back to the 8 last time out. So some of these horses, when they make that move, they make a forward move and go to the 6. And other horses make the backward move and go back to the 12. For some reason, I just think he's going to go backwards and go back to the 12. I could be wrong, and I could be reading it wrong. And I guess if he's long enough, you could certainly use him. But I just have a bad feeling about him. I don't know. Just my opinion.
Yeah, he was lined up against Citizen Bull and
he was in that 5-horse field last time. With the famous Santa Anita Derby.
And journalism also was way too good for him in the San Felipe. So what you're saying is because I was going to ask you this about Sandman. So when you have a horse that's coming, is that because he's coming off the pairs and then gets a win?
No, it's because he circled back to the number. So again,
the 2 8s. Okay.
Right. So it's not a pair. It's kind of different. It's a different read. It's circle back number, but I'll definitely get people more confused than they are already.
Okay. We'll pass on that.
I'll keep it to myself.
Okay. Sounds good. Next up is the 5 American Promise, and you got a D. Wayne Lucas horse in the Derby.
Somebody in the comments asked about this horse, and I don't give this horse much of a shot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's coming off of 10, which is a 5-point new top. So you've got the bounce factor possibilities there as well. And this would be a big ask for American Promise. All right, now we got a couple of imports. You got
Japanese horses.
Yeah, you got Admire, Daytona, and Luxor Cafe. And according to the sheets, Luxor Cafe is the better of the two. He's coming off a 7. And boy, did he look fast, though. And I'm sure that was a deserving 7. I mean, I don't know if it was a close. I don't know how far back he was or he was stalking. But the fact is once he turned that corner and took off, I mean, that was pretty impressive to see.
Yeah, it was back on March 29th. So he has, I guess, all of April, maybe 6 weeks coming into the race. He's coming from Japan. Again, none of these Japanese horses have ever won. Sooner or later, one of them will win. If you're looking at numbers, the horse fits.
Yeah, and there you go. I mean, if as you said, if one of these horses will win eventually, and if Luxor Cafe wins, it wouldn't be a surprise with the 7 coming in and a 10 before that.
Yeah.
So it's a good horse. You're getting 15 to 1. And maybe, we're trying to find other horses, not just the winners. And maybe Luxor Cafe could definitely get in there and help us make some money at 15 to 1. By the way, the jockey is 41 years old and actually had retired, came out of retirement. And he's actually won a lot of races overseas. So.
Well, if you get to ride in the Derby, you're going to come out of retirement because
I don't know if it's just for that, but yeah.
No matter where you are, I mean, the Derby, everyone knows if you win the Derby, well, you win the Derby.
Okay, now comes the morning line favorite, Journalism. And look, Journalism is the real deal. Went 14, 10, and 9 last year. Then in the San Felipe, he hit a 5. So we expected the bounce in the Santa Anita Derby, and that's what we got. Bounced to a 9, still won the race with only about, 5 horses in the field.
The same Santa Anita Derby that the other guys, they're all out of that same race, all these horses.
Yeah, so Journalism, that's the one thing, John, is we have no idea how Journalism is going to take to the culture shock that he's about to find himself in on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, he's never been in a field this size. He did overcome trouble last time out, so that's somewhat encouraging, but you got to blame the jockey a little bit too. You got 5 horses. How do you find trouble? But it wasn't so much his fault as other jockeys on other horses really put him in a box, and he escaped and he won. All that being said, I just can't play the favorite in the Derby. Can the horse win? Absolutely, but I think I have better options. I'll be using this horse, but I won't be keying him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just one of those deals. I mean, a really good horse. Look, I might even feel a little bit more comfortable with him had he been in bigger field races and against tougher competition even. I mean, he had good competition, but,
you're not battle tested.
No.
You don't face any controversy when you're in a 5 or 6 horse field.
Yeah.
So that's what, the California horses, unfortunately, the field sizes are short. And that's what you're up against. You can only face the horses that face you. You can only beat whoever comes to the game. So they do that and everything else. But again, there's no value. And I don't think he's going to be that short. I don't think he'll be much less than 7 to 2. I don't think so. If you wanted to play him, I could see it. But again, I'll have other ideas in the race.
Okay, now let's go to the 9, Burnham Square. 12 to 1 shot, coming off pairs, coming off 2 8s. He hasn't done anything wrong. Each race has been better than the next. He's coming off a bluegrass win, really nice win. He closed late to beat East Avenue in that one. It looked like East Avenue was going to pull it out. But Burnham Square got a big win there after a big win at the Holy Bull. Had the disappointing 4th at the Fountain of Youth in between, but hey, I guess you can't win them all.
But the number was good. The number was good. He never even went backwards when he didn't win. Listen, I was between him and another horse in the race. I ended up going to the other horse, but I could easily key this horse if he's really 12-1 or longer. I don't think he'll be, but who knows? What I like about this horse is the race that he ran 3 races back. He ran a 9, and the 9 was off of the 10 without any time off. He ran a 10 at the end of last year, which was a 5-point new top off the 15. I know I'm going into the weeds here, Greg, but you understand what I'm saying. Off of the 10, he ran a 9. So to me, that's very strong. And then he continues to improve. I could easily make a case for this horse. And this is one of my 2 main horses in the race that I like.
Yeah, because you get the feeling that it's possible that we just haven't seen the best of Burnham Square yet.
No, I could easily see a 6 coming, and a 6 could be good enough.
Yep. All right. Next up is the 10 Grande. And as I mentioned, Grande, a lightly raced horse, did not race as a 2-year-old, but there's nothing to not like about what we've seen with the numbers. 15, 11, both wins, and then finally gets in a big race, the Wood, and runs a 7. So that's pretty impressive. 1, 2, 3, 15, 11, 7. I guess the question, though, is it's only going to be about a month and a 4-point new top, and it's a lightly raced horse. So the bounce factor is definitely in play. But you know what I like about that second, John, is that 7 was a better number than Rodriguez's 8. And the reason for that was this horse is basically like a stalker.
He was wide. The other horse was on the rail. He got
Yep.
a point extra credit for being wide. So he ran the better number than Rodriguez. In both cases, this horse, I think, is a lot more likely to run the 11 or worse than he is to repeat the 7.
Yeah.
There's no foundation as a 2-year-old. You want to see some sort of foundation. We're going to get to horse later in the card, Sovereignty, and you're going to see fast numbers at 2. Even Burnham Square had a 10. Journalism had a 9. So those horses already showed they had the potential when they were 2 to run these kind of numbers. This horse, it's a total guess, was a 7 last time out. But from over years of experience of looking at races like this and these kind of horses, more of them bounce and don't run well than, And by the way, Curtis Clark makes a good point. The Bluegrass hasn't produced a winner in a long time, and he's right. There are certain key races as 2-year-olds. The Florida races always come up very strong. The Bluegrass hasn't produced. That race was run in Kentucky, so I guess he was referring to Burnham Square. But the Wood in New York, which this horse is coming out of, hasn't really produced many winners over the last couple of years either.
Yeah, and again, just like we said, it's been over 5 years since we've had a winner of any of these prep races win the Derby. So that's another thing to keep in mind. All right, Flying Mohawk, the 11 horse, is one of the long shots that, see, this is, look, he was second in the Jeff Ruby Stakes.
Here's the problem I have with those synthetic races. They should only give the winner points. Horses that run second, third, and fourth. I mean,
Baeza should be in this race, not this horse.
Exactly.
Because Baeza can win the Derby. If he was in the Derby, this horse has no shot.
Agreed.
All right. Well, maybe he'll step on a tack or something.
We don't wish anything bad on.
No, we don't. I don't want to wish anything bad. Everybody's dream to be in the Derby, so good luck. All right. Next up is the 12 East Avenue. And East Avenue, as I mentioned, was the one who was leading late in the Bluegrass until Burnham Square passed him, and that was really close. And East Avenue went out, took a really strong early pace, very impressive. I thought maybe he'd hold on, but Burnham Square did a great job of closing on the outside to get the win. East Avenue also had a dominating performance in winning the Breeders' Futurity Stakes in October. So what's interesting, John, is gets off to a great start with the 2 wins, including the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity, goes 13-12. Then the 2 races after that are just awful. 19-19.
He did have major trouble in the Breeders' Cup race when he ran the 19, and he was also bouncing off the 12. The problem is the race 2 starts back at Fairgrounds. There was no excuse for that horrible race, and then he put in a big effort. I think this horse has 0 chance. Let me just get to the point. He's speed. There's other speed. He's got no shot. I don't like him.
Okay. All right. Next up is Publisher. And of course, the big story on Publisher is he has not won a race yet. So he's trying to break his maiden in the Kentucky Derby. And thanks to one of our viewers, Joseph Edwards, who reminded us, or at least educated us, that Buchanan, Sir Barton, and Broker's Tip are the only maidens to ever win the Derby. So we haven't seen this since 1933. That's what Publisher is going up against. And of course, you have Steve Asmussen trying to break into his first Derby win. He's got another horse we'll talk about next. And then you've got a Rat Ortiz Jr. on board who's never won a Derby either. And John, I got to tell you, if this horse had won a race, I think a lot of people would be thinking differently. And I don't see any reason to think that way. That the line on this horse is really strong. He hasn't done anything wrong over the last several races. Everything has been forward. The last 2 races are 12 and 11. And he's also getting closer to winning 7th, 4th, 2nd. I think this is a dangerous horse at 20-1.
Well, he could certainly get in. The problem with him is he had no foundation as a 2-year-old either. He did run a 14 first out sprinting and never came back to it. The interesting thing is that Flavian Pratt thought enough of this horse to ride him in both the Rebel, 2 starts back. He went to Oakland to ride a maiden. And then he stuck with him last time out in the Arkansas Derby. But why did he jump off on Saturday? He didn't have a mount till a few days ago. I'm just saying.
That's true.
And
unless Savvy Joseph.
Last week we did a race on the show, and I kept telling everybody, follow the jock, follow the jock, follow the jock. For Antonio Frasu had 4 choices, and when Phil D'Amato won with the 1 horse, who won? The jockeys have an idea. They know what's under them, especially good guys. I'm just saying, I don't think he's going to win this horse. But again, his last 2 races certainly marked improvement in both of them.
And here's the thing that I like about the horse is even if he doesn't win again, if he finishes in 2nd, he's 30-1.
Yeah.
So, okay. Next up is Tistastic. And Tistastic is coming in here off of a 10. That is a 3-point new top. And so, ounce is definitely potentially in play here. But on the good side, the horse is coming into this race, in a nice situation where the very last race, his best race, was a distance race just like this. We know from what we heard from Asmussen, this is where the horse wants to be in these long distance races. The problem was that 10, kind of like the wrong time. Did he put his best race too early?
It was an ugly top. It was only a 3-point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If I had to pick between Publisher and Tistastic, both long prices, both Asmussen, I think Tistastic would be the right horse, only because he had a 14 at Churchill as a baby, and now he's coming back to Churchill, a better horse than he was at 2. So this is not the worst idea in the world. He didn't make my cut, but for people that want to use him, I can't argue with you.
The 15 is Render Judgment, a 30-1 shot, and another horse where I think I'd rather see Baeza. But the good thing is for Render Judgment is that if you take a look at his sheet numbers, he hasn't gone backwards. It's just that he's going a little bit too slow as far as getting there. Maybe in his next race.
He would have to step it up for sure.
Yeah. So his 3 races this year are 16, 14, and 13, all in the forward movement. Also has a win at Churchill. So there's that. But yeah, there are better long shots out there. And here's my boy, Coal Battle. And what's interesting about this situation here with Coal Battle, and because you get these deals in the Kentucky Derby all the time. We just went over the long shots that have won. You don't know how these horses win. So me taking a look at the actual sheet line here for Coal Battle, yeah, it's not like overly impressive. But I'll tell you right now, it's better than a couple of these winners the last 5 or 6 years. But what's really interesting about this horse for me personally is I mentioned after I hit with this horse a couple of times a couple months ago about, I love this horse now. I love the story with the trainer. I'm definitely going to take this horse at the Derby. And I didn't care that he lost at the Arkansas Derby because it wasn't going to win every race. So what I like, I'm going over the post positions and I'm checking out the little tidbits about post positions and all that. And I noticed, and this is freaky for me, that there are 2 horses that won from this post position that were 2 of the horses back when I was doing my shows down in South Florida in the first 5 years, say, of my career that I picked and won on. They were Charismatic in 1999 and Thunder Gulch in 1995. So I had so much history just remembering, because those were long shots, 20 to 5, 25, 30, 31 long shots. And when you make those picks on your radio show, you feel like, or at least you act like you know what you're doing. But anyway, it was a great time. I remember it. It's a great memory. And just to see that this is the same exact position that another long shot that I'm interested in is on, just like sealed the deal for me and said I have to take the horse. Are you still there, John? I lost John. What? You knocked yourself out, John?
Yeah, how'd you know? There was like a power surge. All the power went out for a second and went right back on. And I was talking to myself. But
wow. I thought, well, I was talking to them. I thought I was talking to you too. And I couldn't even see you because I had my my paper over the viewing screen. Anyway, you missed everything I said. So
no, I heard it. Told you.
Oh, you did? Okay. So anyway, so what do you think about the horse?
It's a great human interest story. Everybody's rooting for the guy, but he doesn't have really a shot, unfortunately. I mean, he could finish maybe somewhere in the bottom.
No, he's got as much as a shot as the long shots at the Derby. Yes.
Yeah.
That's about it. It's a long shot, and that's all. And I get it. Anyway, by the way, as far as the numbers were concerned, he ran a 12 and a 13 last year at the end of the year. These are the only races on dirt. A 14, a 10, and a 13. He bounced to the 13. So he does have a 10. And he's now 4 for 4 in the money with 3 wins on a dirt fast track. Okay, let's now go to Sandman. Big closer here at the 17th position. And Sandman coming off the big win in the Arkansas Derby. By the way, no horse has ever won the Derby from the 17th position.
Well,
0 for 45.
We did love this horse in the last time in the Arkansas Derby. So people that were on here remember we loved him, and he ran super that day. That being said, at 6-1, not for me.
Yeah, I was real surprised to see this horse at 6-1. I mean, I don't know where that came from. He's got 11, and 10. He's done nothing wrong over his last 6 races. But again, the price is way too short. So we're going to see a couple of horses where the odds are going to change and they're going to go all over the place. So if it's this horse all of a sudden started to regress, what number would you be interested in?
He's not going to be long enough. That's the problem. There's no way there's going to be any value with him. But
so unless the horse was actually 15 or 20 to 1, you would have had no interest.
No.
Okay. So, but again, even the fact that the position is 0 for 45.
That only gives me more of a reason not to bet him.
Exactly.
If you really think about it, it's horse racing, and that doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. But all right, here's a good one. Sovereignty. You're getting almost double than the favorite at this point. We'll see how it goes on Saturday. But Sovereignty is coming off back-to-back 7s, which is very impressive. Matter of fact, that's about as good as any horse in this field because he's done it back-to-back and been very impressive. Won that Street Sense race, won the Fountain of Youth, and also likes to go from behind. He went from last to first to win that Street Sense race. By the way, that was at Churchill Downs. Also went last to first to win the Fountain of Youth, and then wound up finishing second to Tappan Street, who ran a great race in the Florida Derby. But this is definitely, I think, right up there with journalism. Odds-wise, deservedly so, one of the top 2 horses to beat.
Yeah, so I was between Burnham Square and Sovereignty as my, the right horse to key here. And maybe I'm making a mistake because Burnham Square is 12-1 and this horse is only 5-1. But I just love this horse's line. I mean, he ran an 11 top as a 2-year-old. He paired up 7s in his last 2 races.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah.
The only problem is it's the 18 post and he has no early speed and he's going to have to circle a lot of horses. So he could run his 5 and still lose because of the amount of ground that he's going to lose. Similar to that, you were talking about how Grande ran a point faster than the horse that beat him that day.
Yeah.
And that was Rodriguez. So the same thing could happen here. This horse could run the best number in the race, but due to the amount of ground loss he's going to lose, it could cost him the race. But I'm going with him anyway. He is my top selection. And this is the horse I like best.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about the horse, no question. The post position, by the way, is not like the 17 because there have been wins here, just two. And that was Country House in 2019.
Well, Country House got put up, if you remember. He never won the race. There was a DQ and he got put up. The service horse.
That was Maximum Security.
Correct.
Yep. And that was the first ever DQ in Kentucky Derby history.
And then came Mandaloun, if you remember,
which was my pick.
You liked him.
Yes, that was my pick.
Second, and about a year later, he got put up to first.
Yes. So I didn't make any money off of it. Yeah. So
the only ones that got rich were the trainer and I guess the jockey and the owner, but the gamblers got screwed again. So welcome to this world.
Yep. And of course, the other horse that won from this position was Gato del Sol back in 1982. All right, so that's Sovereignty. Now let's move on to Chunk of Gold, a 30-1 shot. And Chunk of Gold is coming off back-to-back 12s after running back-to-back 15s on Synthetic, another horse that should be taking the night off for Baeza.
Boy, you're a big Baeza fan. This is, by the way, an interesting situation. There are horses in this race they paid millions of dollars for and all kinds of money and all the great connections, the Coxes, the Baffords, the Pletchers. Here's a horse they paid $2,500 for. And who would have thunk that he's going to make the Derby? But he made the Derby. Yep.
Wow. That is a great story.
Yeah,
that's
$2,500, and here we are in the Derby.
He's not going to win, but
it's just nice. But that's not the point.
No, it's not. It's a nice story.
Yeah, I mean, it's really David and Goliath. You're fighting with all the big shots in the world, and here's a little guy that chugs in with a $2,500 horse. It would be nice.
Yes, it would. That is another nice potential story to keep an eye on. Okay, and then we have the last horse, and that is Owen Almighty, a 30-1 shot. And Owen Almighty, this is the horse that we didn't know whether or not was going to go for it because of the distance situation.
Well, they kept training. They kept changing their mind. The trainer does not want to be here. This is the owners getting Derby fever, which they're entitled to do. They pay the bills. They put the money in the game. But the 3 9s followed by the 12, they're making a mistake running this horse. And Baeza, if he ever gets in, has a beautiful line, and I certainly would be using if he drew in.
Yeah, Baeza, after that first race on turf, okay, bad move. Let's put him on dirt. This year runs a 10, a 9, and a 7. Runs the 7, just getting beat by the morning line favorite, Journalism. That's very impressive. And by the way, Baeza is 12-1 and is not even, that's like the 4th choice. And he can't even get in, it looks like. And look, we still have a couple of days, so anything can happen.
You have a week. Oh, no, you have 3. What am I talking about?
Yeah, a couple of days. Is there like a deadline for that?
No, Friday morning.
Friday morning is. Okay.
Actually, yeah, I think it's Friday morning.
All right, so.
Selection time.
18 is going to be your pick here, John.
Yes, I'm playing exact is with the 2 Neo Equus, the 7 Luxor.
Yes.
That's the Japanese horse, the 8 Journalism, and of course the 9 Burnham Square. My main punches obviously will be 18 with 8 and 9.
18 with 2, 7, 8, and 9.
Correct. Extra, first and second, and extra tickets 18 with 8 and 9.
18 with 8 and 9.
There you have it.
Okay. Why is that an extra ticket?
Because those are the most likely horses to run. I don't need
out of those 5. Out of those 4, the 8.
Yeah, and 9, I don't need Neo Quest, who's 30-1. I don't need the same amount on that exact as with Journalism or Burnham Square. And I do like the Burnham Square and Journalism a little better than the other 2.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go again. I'm going with my heart, but I'm also going with something called I don't know what you want to call it.
Money.
No, it's not money, because if it was money, even though he's a big priced horse, but no, sometimes you just go with your gut, and that's what I'm going to do with Coal Battle. But yeah, I'm right there with you, John, with the 18, obviously. I mean, I don't know how you can't be impressed with what you see there out of Sovereignty with the 2 7s, plus it's a pair. I mean, look, from 14, 13, 11, 2 7s. I mean, really impressive. And by the way, that's a horse that has been dealing with, bigger fields and overall normal competition, unlike journalism. So, even though I don't want to knock journalism too much, because we know how great the horse is, or at least could be. All right, so I'm going to go 16. I'm just like you, I'm also going to add the 7 in there. I'm going to add the 9 in there, Burnham Square, and also the 18, Sovereignty. So it's 16 over 7, 9 and 18, 7, 9, and 18. And there it is. John also, again, gave the bonus pick in race 9 on Saturday, going with the 5 and the 6. So there you have it. Don't forget, John, you're going to be on YouTube the next 2 days?
Tomorrow night, and then on Friday night from the South Point Casino and Hotel. Go to their website and just click a button if you want to join. But you're going to hear everything again that you heard here. Unless you just want to see me and you'll miss me.
Oh, I was watching the Bad News Bears. I don't even know how I got to watch it again.
Yeah,
I was watching the Bad News Bears, and I after watching the first like 5 or 10 minutes, I was like, I knew Walter Matthau reminded me of somebody. And watched Bad News Bears, John.
I've seen it 100 times. Actually, it was when I used to live in California. It was filmed like 2 blocks from my house there on the Little League field. And
was it really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
How
great.
old were you?
No, it was filmed way before I lived there. But
okay.
I never knew it till I was sitting in there watching my kid play Little League one day, and Bad News Bears was filmed here. So
wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. But anyway, check out John on YouTube over the next couple of nights, including, of course, Friday, the South Point Casino. And that's going to be 6 o'clock Eastern, I believe. Is that correct?
6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern. All right.
Okay, so 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. And then as far as the regular scheduling, then next week, just so everybody knows, there are 4 big races at Aqueduct. That's really going to be the racetrack that we're going to be looking at next week. You've got the Man of War, the Ruffian, and a couple other races, including the Peter Pan. So we've got Aqueduct next week. And then in 2 weeks, we do it all again with the Friday Black Eyed Susan and the Preakness on Saturday. So, John, good to talk to you again for another Kentucky Derby. We've been doing, I think this is like 15th straight Kentucky Derby or something like that.
Wow.
Yep.
We're getting older.
Yeah, it is happening. And we want to thank everybody who tuned in, everybody who got that chat rolling. And if you unfortunately didn't get a chance to watch the show live, still, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section, of course. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future programs. John, enjoy. Have a great trip.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Thank you, Greg.